It's time to make some fast money. And now, here is your host, Rod Villagomez, with all of this weekend's best motorsports bets. Happy Friday, everybody. It is, of course, Fast Money. I am your host, Rod Villagomez, here on For Frequency's Sake, getting you set up for Vegas, baby. That's right. We'll be up 500 by midnight. It is the South Point 400 going on. Of course, the Xfinity race is going to be on that before the Cup race, but Xfinity odds, as they always are on Friday, get pulled down a little bit early. So we are going to have some fun with the Cup race. Kudos, by the way, to the Caesars Sportsbook, who has ultimately taken the lead in overall prop betting for NASCAR. They have given us a smorgasbord of great odds this weekend to have fun in Vegas. Maybe it's just Vegas. Maybe they're expanding their offerings because it is a Vegas race. But I will say that hats off to them. They've added a lot of fun new bets to this. We're actually going to take advantage of one of them here in just a second, but got to say they've got most laps led by a driver. They've got drivers to lead a lap, the number of that over under, the average speed of the race as well. So many good bets on top of what they are already giving us. So very excited to have that under our belts now. Hopefully going forward, this is exactly the kind of thing they're going to continue to offer us. And that's, again, a lot of opportunity to bet, much like F1. F1's got a ton of stuff that you can bet on. Hoping to see NASCAR kind of take that next step forward this coming season in what they're offering as far as bets are concerned. So as I said before, not going to go crazy with parlays this time because, like I said, it's just the Cup race. So it's not easy to parlay Cup races as it is to parlay multiple races. But we do have a couple of good bets that I am ready to give you, and I think are going to cash this weekend for us here at the South Point 400 from the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We'll start with one of these new ones from Caesars. It is the drivers not completing 133 laps. Seems like a random number, I know, but they pulled 133 laps out of this to get it done. The over-under on number of drivers to not complete 133 laps is set at 1.5. I'm going to take the over. That's at minus 115 over on Caesars. In the spring, pretty much all but one driver completed 133 laps. In fact, all the drivers, completed 133 laps. Joey Logano was the only driver not to actually complete the race under DVP. 183 laps he led, or he finished rather. And then Cody Ware was 259 and then 265 on top of that. So we did have everybody finishing 133 laps in the spring, but in 3 out of those last 3 races before that had seen less than, or actually more than 1.5 drivers not finish 133 laps. 3 drivers, in fact, in the fall of 2022 did not finish 133 laps. And then 2 drivers in the spring of 2022, 2 drivers in the fall of 2021, and then 2 drivers, or everybody else did it on 133. So it has been a kind of wet and wild race, and the over is hit more than it hasn't here in the last 3 or 4 races. So I'm going to go ahead and take the over on drivers to not complete 133 laps. It's kind of a crazy bet, right? I mean, I know that this is a track where it can get drawn out and things can not necessarily be as exciting, and there's not a lot of strategy to be played, but these are still playoff drivers and they're still hunting for a championship. So there's a lot to be done in this as well. So yeah, again, give me the number of drivers to not complete 133 laps at over 1.5. You can find that at minus 115 over on Caesars. I've got a fun little parlay for you, but hang tight. We're going to promo some shows on this network as well.
For Frequency's Sake has you covered on all things sports. From the squared circle to the hardwood and the gridiron to the speedway, we've got something for everyone. Walk down the aisle with the boys from Cards Subject to Change every Sunday as they take a deep dive into everything pro wrestling. Need your gambling fix? We've got you there. Enter Pit Row with Rod Villagomez and Fast Money as we win the checkered flag with NASCAR, Xfinity, and truck race winners and props. Football more your style? Explore the waters of NFL DFS with DFS Deep Dive with Brian Craighead and Jordan Kernan each week. More into the science portion of the game? We've got a double dose of action there. The Professor John Bush and Dennis Michelson take you into their science lab and dissect your week in the data lab. Want an analytical take? Nick Gurl and the team at Gridiron AI come to you each week with The Lab. Need to know who to start last minute? The network's flagship show for Fantasy's Sake is here in a pinch. The fellas come to you live every football Sunday from 10 to 11:30 Central with the week's best DFS, gambling, and lineup advice. And wrap up your Sundays with Joe Winkle and Nick Brinks as they come to you live with educated ignorance looking at all the day's action. Can't get enough of Joe? He comes to you 3 times a week. Not enough football on Sunday? Not a problem. Kick your feet up at lunch on Monday and slip on into the football lounge with Dan and Mark while they look at the week that was in news, notes, and more. For frequency's sake, you know what we mean.
Let's continue on with our bets here for the South Point 400. We're going to dig into 3 head-to-head matchups here, and we're going to parlay these guys together. This will be our parlay for the weekend, and we're going to take 3 matchups, put them all together, and get ourselves a plus 459 out of this parlay. It starts with Ty Gibbs. He's got a head-to-head with Kevin Harvick. The Ty Gibbs side of this is minus 145. That's the side we're taking. And then, of course, we're going to add Tyler Reddick on there. He's taking on Christopher Bell in this head-to-head at minus 130. We're taking the Tyler Reddick side of this. And then Ryan Blaney at minus 115 over Kyle Busch. We're going to take the Ryan Blaney side of this one. The Kevin Harvick side, I mean, listen, Ty Gibbs over Kevin Harvick on any other track, on any other season, you would say Kevin Harvick is a no-brainer, a slam dunk, because Kevin Harvick's name is cemented in every facet of every racetrack that there is, right? He's got 14 top 10 finishes and 28 starts here, 7 top 5s, 2 wins, by the way, 2 DNFs. That's it. I mean, he's got a 12th place, and 2 9th place finishes over his last 4 races. Kevin Harvick is fantastic. He's spectacular, right? Not so fast. He's going out of his career on kind of a whimper note, unfortunately. Tracks we've seen him dominate on, he's not necessarily dominating on. His last 4 finishes, 3 of them have been outside of the top 10. Actually, 3 of them have been outside of the top 15, if we're being honest with each other. And then a 6th place at Texas was his best finish in that span. Kevin Harvick is driving his last few races, and I think he knows it. I think the world knows it. And unfortunately, I don't think that's going to translate into a very good finish for him this week in Las Vegas. That's for Ty Gibbs. He's a young, hot commodity, right? Honestly, his finishes here, he's got 2 22nd place finishes on this track in particular as a Cup Series driver, but he did start 4th in the spring, which means he showed a little speed in his last 4 races. He's actually got 2 top 5 finishes in his last 4 races. The only knock on him right now is the fact that he did finish 33rd in Texas a couple of weeks ago, another 1.5 miles, crashed out of that one, but he did start 4th again. Speed to be had from this Gibbs car. And then a 14th place at Kansas, which is kind of another comparable track overall. 9 top 10 finishes for Gibbs, but look, he's an up-and-comer. He's definitely showing that he's there to play, and he's there to actually be a legitimate driver on this track. So we're going to go ahead and go with the Ty Gibbs side. Doesn't have to be super high finish for him as long as Kevin Harvick finishes outside of the top 15 like he's done over the last few weeks. All right, now we're going to take the Ryan Blaney versus Kyle Busch side of this. If you watch NASCAR at all, you know that Kyle Busch is not on one right now. He is the most, I guess, inconsistent driver, and he just sold his team, and there's so much distraction going on. He's not in the playoffs anymore. I know a lot of times we say that that's what gives these drivers an edge to do whatever they can to win the race. But for Kyle Busch, I don't know what it is. I mean, maybe as somebody who kind of struggles with distractions as well, I kind of get where he's coming from. It's a little difficult to concentrate on work when everything else is hammering you. And look, driving is work for these guys. That is their job. So for Kyle Busch, out of his last 4 races, he's got 1 top 3 finish. The rest have been outside of the top 20. 20th Bristol, 34th at Texas, 25th at Talladega. He got 3rd on the Charlotte road course, but that's a road course. I mean, this is Vegas. This is a different animal altogether. And what sucks is that Vegas is his home track. I mean, he's definitely somebody that should perform well at Las Vegas, right? In the spring, he started 5th, but he finished 14th on this track. And Kyle Busch's name is synonymous with this Vegas track. Like I said, it is his home track. He does have a win here. He's got 11 top 5s and 14 top 10 finishes in 24 starts. In fact, if you go back to 2021, he had 4 straight top 5 finishes. And then if you go back another race, a 6th place finish in 2020. So 2020 in the fall, he finished 6th. In the spring of 2021, 3rd. In the fall of 2021, 3rd. In the spring of 2022, 4th. and then 2022 in the fall, third. But he was in his 18 car at that point. In the 8 car, he's got a 14th place finish here on this track. For Ryan Blaney, still got something to drive for. He's still hunting for that championship. So he's definitely going to want a really good finish on the season. He won at Talladega, finished 12th at the Roval, 28th at Texas, not really good. 12th at Texas, or 12th at Kansas, rather. So a good showing there. 13th in this race earlier in the spring, and he started in third. But for Ryan Blaney on this track overall, not fantastic finishes. That's the only thing. That's the only knock on this matchup is that it hasn't been fantastic. 13th, like I said, in the spring of this season. 28th before that, 36th before that, but 2 top 5 finishes and a 7th place before that as well. So Ryan Blaney can get it done. Like I said, he's still got something to drive for. Gotta take him in this one because, again, for Kyle Busch, just a lot of distractions. We haven't seen the best of Kyle Busch like we thought we would all over. So, all right, then let's take Tyler Reddick versus Christopher Bell in this one. Look, Chris Bell is, I mean, if you want to try to handicap Chris Bell and take Chris Bell for a good finish, good luck. He'll give you great finishes like he did at Kansas, an 8th place finish after starting on the pole. He started on the pole 3 weeks in a row, by the way, between Darlington and Bristol. So, there's speed in that 20 car, but it doesn't always translate into the best of finishes. And I say that because a 14th place finish and a 15th place finish over the last 2 races, not great. Fort Worth, in Texas, he finished 4th. Bristol, 8th. Earlier this season in Las Vegas, a 5th place finish. So all that is great stuff for Christopher Bell, right? But he can also give you a 23rd like he did at Darlington, a 16 like he did at Daytona. I'm just having a hard time trusting Christopher Bell for a good finish. Again, in the spring, 5th place finish, but 34th before that, 10th, 24th, 7th, 24th, 33rd. Highly inconsistent at this track. Tyler Reddick, he's consistent. He's gotten you a 6th place finish, a 7th place finish, a 6th place finish, and a 15th place finish on this track. Led laps in the last 2 times he's been on this. Started on the pole, by the way, in 2022 in the fall. So good finishes for Tyler Reddick there. Tyler Reddick won Kansas, which was one of the last mile and a half that we were at. Unfortunately, had a bad day at Fort Worth, 25th. He did finish 6th at the Roval, but he started on the pole in that one as well. In Las Vegas, a 15th place finish in the spring. But again, Tyler Reddick still driving hard, still got something to go for. So I feel like this is a much better opportunity for Tyler Reddick to have a better finish than Christopher Bell. Again, if you put all these together, Ty Gibbs over Kevin Harvick, you put Tyler Reddick over Christopher Bell, you put Ryan Blaney over Kyle Busch. All those separately, again, Ty Gibbs minus 145 over Kevin Harvick, Tyler Reddick minus 130 over Christopher Bell, Blaney 115 over Kyle Busch. Put all those together, plus 459 for you on the day. All right. I know that was a rather longer version of this show, but 3 matchups require a little bit more digging into. So hopefully that doesn't shy you away from placing the tickets. But like I said, those are the bets that we're going after. If you forgot the first one, it is the number of drivers to finish under 133 laps. I'm going to take the over 1.5 on that one. That's at minus 115 over on Caesars. By the way, kudos, like I said, to you guys for offering that bet. So definitely having some fun with that. All right. It's Vegas, baby. So excited to hit my mic. It's Vegas, baby. Let's enjoy the normalcy of a 1.5 mile track again and have some fun and cash some tickets this weekend. So we'll see you again next week for more. Until then,